Gracias, Teresa. Well, first, I'm going to speak in English now. First, the message from Professor Tony Allen, just the way he sent it. I'm extremely sorry that bad weather has prevented me from contributing to this important conference, which celebrates the cooperative research of innovative management of water systems in Southern European region. I intended to highlight the overwhelming important role of private sector markets in managing food water. That is, the water embedded in our food supply chains, where 90% of the water used by society is managed and mismanaged. 90% of this water is allocated and used by farmers. All is managed by private sector agents, farmers, traders, food manufacturers, supermarkets, and consumers. This market system, unfortunately, has no accounting and reporting rules that take water into account. I wish the conference, every success despite the problems caused by those who cannot attend through nature's intervention. It has chosen to send reminders that we need even better systems to cope with too much freezing water. And this is the message from Tony Allen. Now, my turn. Well, first of all, obviously, welcome everybody to this Noviwam final conference. It's really, for me, as a coordinator of our research area in the Center for New Water Technologies, I'm really happy to see there's still so many people interested in water research and or water management. Closer? Good? Okay, thank you. Okay, so I was saying that and the goal of my presentation is going to be to introduce you the Noviwam project, okay, and put it into context within the boundaries of the conference, okay, with the rest of the things you're going to see and hear during these following 2 days. As you know, this is the final conference of the Noviwam project, and as such has been designed to share the experience and the findings we obtained during the last 3 years. So I'm going to go through the guts of the project. So I'm going to explain why we did it, how we did it, who did that, okay, and then I will explain you a little bit more about the details to follow in these following 2 days. So, first of all, I'm going to start talking about the Noviwam project. It stands for Novel Integrated Water Management Systems for Southern Europe. It's a 7th framework program, okay, and if you are not aware of what the framework program is, then probably you are, but it has been the main funding tool for research in Europe, and it's going to be replaced next year by the Horizon 2020 initiative. It belongs to the sub-program capacities, and this means that this is not really pure science, pure research, okay, rather than it's the sub-program capacities aims to enhance research and innovation capacities. This means through infrastructures, through small and medium enterprise capacities, and part of the goals of the project, supporting regional research-driven clusters. It has 19 partners, and they are divided in 5 regions. The coordinator has been the Andalusian Water General Secretariat. Okay, that's and the 5 countries are France, Spain, Portugal, Albania, and Cyprus. Because we don't have much time now, we're going to go through all the partners, but you have the executive summary in the welcome pack you have, and then you can see who are the partners, and I really encourage you to stop any of the partners and talk about the project because it has been really interesting. 19 partners are quite a lot for any project, okay, but there's a reason for that, and I'm going to go in a couple of slides. I'm going to go talk about this. Previous to that, I think it's kind of important to explain something quite relevant for the project. 2 concepts: the clusters and the triple helix. A cluster, in brief, would be a geographic concentration of enterprises, of institutions and universities that share a common interest in a given particular economic or strategic sector. Okay, to put it in an example would be like Silicon Valley, okay, where you have hardware manufacturers and software developers together. The idea behind that is that this association generates an inertia that makes research more efficient because there are common interests located at the same place. The other concept is the triple helix model. Okay, the triple helix model describes a situation where you have these three actors I mentioned, the enterprises, the public sector, and the research institutions, and they work independently but in a collaborative way. So every single leg is independent, autonomous in the way they decide what to research or how to research, but they share their knowledge and get knowledge from the others, feed and feedback. Okay, and basically each one of the legs complement the other. Okay, so in brief, basically this is how the structure of the project was built. Okay, we have 5 regional clusters, and each cluster has at least one representative of one of the legs. Okay, so as you can see now, these are all the partners are divided in either a regional authority, there is a research entity or a business entity for each one of the regions. This is quite important to understand why so many, but in fact you shouldn't look at this as a 19 partner project, but as a 5 regional clusters project. So, there you go. So when you decide to start a project, every project starts with a question. So what we think? I mean, what promoted the idea of starting a project like this? Well, the question to be answered was, what are the mechanisms or the processes that generate or that are behind the research, development, and innovation in the water sector? Okay, not only at the urban level, but at the watershed level. So, if you look at it, then basically there's plenty. All the sectors are somehow, to some degree, involved. Okay, but the communications are not always linked or as efficient. And so, in the way that we wanted to go from the idea to the market, so from the research to the real innovation and something going on really in real life, we wanted to answer these questions, basically. Which technical solutions are local policymakers and public authorities demanding from research? Basically, are the practitioners, the people that really need this research, are really demanding what they really need, or just that improvising? Second, how can private and public actors of the triple helix cooperate towards an efficient management and effective implementation of water directives? Basically, this means that we play with some, we abide to some rules. We need to comply with water directives, some policies, and basically are we complying with these policies on time, and we have the tools to comply with these policies in time, and how research can help. And the last, how this regional-specific research and innovation can reinforce and improve regional water management policies. So basically, we have been having policies coming from the European Union, and we try to comply with them, but how can we inform these policies from the bottom up? Can we really incorporate our needs to this research? Talking of this, as an example, I wanted to put was the DSS, the decision support systems in hydrology. If I ask someone randomly when was the first water-related decision support system built, most people will say more or less in the 90s. Some people will say late 90s, some people will say early 90s. You check the bibliography, you're going to check that there are already some models built in the early 80s. And I wanted to share, this is a quote from Gordon and Scott Morton from the MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and says, the DSS is an interactive computer-based system that helps decision makers utilize data and models to solve unstructured problems. To me, it looks quite accurate, quite acceptable, a quite contemporary definition, but this definition was made in 1971. So it took 10 years from the definition, from the idea to a first model. It took about 15 more years from this first model to get into the hands of the managers, and probably 10 more years for this model to fit to the real needs of the manager. So if you think it takes long, you can say that it's somebody's fault. It's nobody's fault. It's just the process. If you check at this, you'll see that it's a problem of computer literacy, of technology that needs to be evolved, computer language. It's also obviously an economic problem because 40 years ago, a computer was obviously expensive and a rare thing to have. But the whole idea is, I think it's a very good example to understand that what we really want is to try to shorten somehow all these factors that limit and hinder research, or the step from research to innovation. What can we do to improve this process? So the goals of the Noviwam project were heading towards what I was talking. And basically, we're thinking, how can we facilitate cooperation between the triple helix? Because we know if we do that, research is going to be more efficient. And how can we become a wide research-driven network of clusters? Because we share common needs, and we get together, we're going to be more efficient also. We're going to boost research. We're going to pass from research to actual innovation. And also, how can we define water-related research and technological development activities? And this is in the form of an joint action plan of a research agenda. Can we really contribute with a research agenda? So this is way too much, if you think, for just a 3-year project. So we needed to select and concentrate our efforts in some more specific issues in water management. So we take advantage that we have partners with expertise covering most of the water sectors, and then we look at the system innovations. That doesn't really matter if it's a hard innovation, the product process, or a soft innovation in the way we manage water or institutions. And we focus more on the tools and methods of integrated water resource management, and also on how can we bridge the knowledge between the stakeholders. Again, the triple helix, how can we do that in order for the triple helix to be more and more effective and boost research and innovation? So now that I explained that, why we did that, I'm going to display how we did that. Okay, so we used what's called a pestle. That's a strategic framework where basically we analyze the political, economic, social, technological, environmental, legislative approach. Basically, we try to test all these parts, okay? And also we change a little bit in order to fulfill all the needs or to identify all the needs of the water sector. Basically, we developed first a database. We needed to do a really good stakeholder analysis, and we ended up with a database over 3,000 stakeholders identified. And then we start gathering the data. And we did it at 3 levels. We did it at the desktop. So basically, our experts within the project developed kind of a state-of-the-art of the water sectors in their regions. Okay. And then we developed an online survey that we got a reply from about 900, 1,000 people. Probably you replied to one of these about 2 years ago. And this was a really condensed, wide and huge survey, but it helped us to get a really an information of a wider scope, okay? And then on top of that, we wanted to refine all this information through a set of interviews to experts in the water sector. So basically to contrast or to get a little more, I would say more defined information regarding the results of the online survey. With all this, what we did was we started the analysis, and we did this global and regional SWOT analysis. I'm going to go to the SWOT also in the next slide, but what I wanted to do was highlighting some of the results, okay? And this graph represents basically the number from the survey, the priority areas that were identified by the people, and contrasted with the current research areas, basically comparing what the people that answered the survey considered that was a priority, but also if this priority was already being worked, okay? And you'll see that environmental flows, urban drainage design and analysis, the priority and dangerous substances, and also the economic analysis were priority areas, but there are areas that need to be explored. So it's still things that in Europe, in Southern Europe, we need to work more at the research level. I don't know how we're on time. Yes. Okay. Some more information about this survey. We'll see regarding some of the questions. What are the elevation flood damages that will principally come from? So basically, you'll see that most people think about prediction. Prediction depends on the country, though, which also explains the level at which country is in their water management. Okay, so you'll see that Portugal, France, and Spain consider that prediction is the first, but in the case of Cyprus, it's infrastructure, and it really explains a lot of the situation, the way they need to regulate first, and the prediction is later. The same initiatives more efficient to solve water pollution problems. Quite condensed the slide, this one. You'll check that, for instance, in the France, it's quite important. The initiative number D, that's the management measures for decreasing diffuse pollution problems. Okay, whereas, for instance, in Albania, it's considered to be A, an increased public investment on wastewater treatment. Again, it's really a good picture of the situation of each country. And the last of this I'm going to show is how do you perceive the involvement in water management issues in general? Okay, so it's blatant, not enough participation of the public, and in some cases it's considered accurate, and only in Spain and in France it's considered too much. Okay. So back to the analysis. Well, I mentioned that we used a SWOT analysis. SWOT is a tool that is usually used in business and marketing to position the company, okay? And it's based on a combination of two factors: internal factors, that means strengths and weaknesses, and external factors, opportunities and threats, okay? This is a technique that, to be honest, has its drawbacks, has its limitations, and mainly the one is to say this kind of bias, in the sense that it depends on who makes this analysis, this assessment. It can be optimistic or pessimistic, okay? This can be solved if we get data from different independent sources, and in our case, we could do that. We did some of this analysis where we externalized that to experts to help us with analysis of this data. Okay, so it's not that we want to have great results. It's just the results that came from an analysis of a panel of experts. So, and the important thing also is that this tool helps us to develop the next step. It's just not only an analysis tool, but it's a tool that helps us in defining future actions or future projects. What's really the point of this project? It's not only just to make an analysis, it's just to be more proactive and define a kind of agenda of actions to do. Okay. So, and this is the whole whole map of what happened. So the categorization of the regional clusters, this is the first phase of the project where we got the data. And from that, we performed the SWOT analysis through partner discussions as stakeholders consultation sessions. And from that, we got this JEP, the Joint Action Plan objectives, okay, that were the problems identified in the SWOT analysis. And we got 11 objectives. 9 were scientific and 2 related to capacity building. Each objective had different priority themes. Overall, we got 23 themes, okay, and this resulted in 39 collaborative actions. So, as I was talking before about the actions and how the SWOT analysis helped us, this is a token. This is highlights from the SWOT analysis. And then you can see, for instance, if we look at the sensor technology column and you see, for instance, the weakness number 2, that's the third box. It says lack of DSS software to introduce economic tools in water management in all Noviwam regions. This is a weakness that was identified along the process. So just by looking at that, you realize that there is a potential project, a potential action to do, just trying to cover this weakness, then you will improve the research in the situation of water management, okay? But likewise, you can just have a project, just a fictional project, okay, that requirements for water footprint studies and municipal and river basin scale. That it's a fictional but could be real, okay. And what we do is we check that in correlation to the SWOT analysis, and we say, well, I mean, it has a strength, there's an economic tools for water management, so it's a weakness, and then basically you see how consistent is this project with the needs, the real needs of the water management in the region. So these are the 11 research objectives we got. Okay. The first column depicts the working group that work on this objective. Okay, and each working group defined, in this case, 1, 2, 3 objectives from the data they got. Okay, you can see what A was objective to the management of groundwater bodies. These are quite general. We're talking about objectives only. But I think I dropped one. Let me check. No, yeah. I'm sorry. There's a slide missing. I'm sorry about that. But well, this will work too. The first column, well, because the project ended up with 39 actions. Okay, and we wanted this project to go forward. Okay, and kind of be realistic. We asked the public authorities involved in the project that were somehow the end users of all the research, all the work done, to define 5 research priorities. Okay, and these are the ones that from the objectives that defined at the beginning, they decided these were the important ones. The second column describes the name of the action, of the objective, and the third one is the action that covers that objective. Okay, so I was saying there's objective defined. Okay, there's a theme within the objective, and then an action that it has been defined in order to tackle that objective. So in this case, researchers and business are crucial in proposing joint action plan actions. Okay, because you detect the challenges and you suggest things. I think you are the ones that are in a better position to propose the actions, but decision makers are essential and raise the priority in research and development issues because they are the end users of this research. The next step in the project was the development of an innovation agenda. Okay, and this is a really important issue regarding the fact that, well, we're not supposed to play God here. Basically, we are not supposed to say this is the way things should be, but these are the needs that are identified, the things that we think we should be working on from now on. So you check, for instance, one of the 7 2020 flagship initiatives, that's the Innovation Union. There's the main concern on the fact that from the idea to the innovation, there's a long step. So we are doing a lot of research, we're not getting that much innovation, okay? So what we want is to create an agenda that helps us to reduce this gap, okay, and to do really research that helps practitioners and water managers. So, well, what are the further steps of the Noviwam project? I mean, the project ends, okay, that's for sure. But what we really want is to establish a situation, a cooperation situation between the partners and external partners that were not involved in the beginning. So we need to promote cooperation within the partners, basically, because we found that there is an interest in the activities we've been doing, and we have been open plenty of doors for partnerships, cooperation, more clustering, okay? We also identified there are plenty of other initiatives in the region, and you're going to see in the following sessions that we did a great work identifying issues, but that we're not the only one that work on this aspect. So the goal is we develop a joint action plan that you're going to see the executive summary. That's like a condensed report of this joint action plan, and I will suggest you to go to the website and download the joint action plan once it's published. Okay, but the way we want is really go from this set of ideas and actions. What we want to do is try to implement those actions through applying to projects, through new partnerships and new initiatives. And that's why we are developing a memorandum of understanding in order to create a Noviwam cluster, where not only the partners involved with the Noviwam project will be in, but also all new partners are invited to join, provided they are within this triple helix system, okay? Because as I was saying at the beginning, one of the strengths of the project is that it's based on this triple helix, in the fact that it's these 3 legs, in fact 4 legs, because most people would say that because the real end users of the research are public, so the common public people. They should be involved also in the triple helix. But what I'm saying is that because the triple helix is so important, this Noviwam cluster should include this triple helix in new partnerships that want to be involved. Now, I wanted to finish this presentation with kind of explain a little bit about the structure of the conference. I think somehow it's self-explanatory, but I think it was really important to put what the Noviwam project is and explain a little bit more of the sessions that we're going to be following my presentation, and then after the coffee break. You have session 1, where we're going to be laying the scientific objectives of the Noviwam projects. Some of them will be explained there, but they're not going to be explained by us, but we ask people from other projects with other experience to share their own experience and see and put in evidence and put clear that what are the objectives of this Noviwam project identified and why they are so important. Session 2 this afternoon is going to be about linking users and generators of water research, technology development and innovation. And this is another issue really important in the project, is about user need-driven research. So basically what we want is how can we strengthen the linkage between who generates the knowledge and who has to apply and use that knowledge. Tomorrow morning, we're going to have, for me, a very important session on water policy in research in the European Union. I think it's really important for several reasons. One of them because this is the field we're playing in, okay? But also because plenty of the issues, I mean, the rules for the following years in research in the European Union will be explained tomorrow there, I think. And session number 4, the last one of the sessions program within the conference, will be about the building strategic agendas. Basically, we built our agenda, but we invited people who has built their own agendas from the public sector, for the private sector, and we invited them to come over and explain them how they did it, how they faced the challenge, how they solved the problems. Alongside with this, the following session today, we're going to be having a brokerage event. You have to be signed up for this before in advance, but it's also aligned with one of the important things of the project, that is establishing linkages, approaching, finding common grounds, and obviously get new projects, get new alliances, okay, in order to just, let's face it, we cannot do this alone, and we really need to go together in hand by hand with other people that complement our skills. And this is going to be happening just behind me from this morning and this afternoon. I really hope from these meetings we'll get a good enough number of alliances coming, whether we are involved or not, obviously. So thanks for your attention. I really hope you enjoy this conference. We really take a plenty of hours, and we have invested plenty of love in this conference and all the project. And I really hope you enjoy it. Okay, and please don't hesitate talking to any other of the people that you have around, because one of the goals of this conference is to increase these linkages between people that are interested in the water sector. Whether you're a public, you're a private, or you're a research entity, this is a really good ground to just start doing things. Welcome and enjoy it. And if I am not, because we have this delay with Professor Tony Allen that couldn't make it, I think we're going to be advancing the coffee time. Is it? It cannot, okay, well, yeah, that's nothing. So if you have any questions about the project, you have any further insights, anything you want to share with us, we still have 5-10 minutes or so to go. And okay, Karen.
César,
yes.
I would say a few words about the importance of Regions of Knowledge projects. If you want to say 2 or 3 minutes time, I can do it just extempore.
Perfect, great. Well, we have here Kieran de Arl. He has been the project officer of this project from Brussels, and well, I think it's really good that he's here now. You'll be having a presentation tomorrow anyway, okay? But he's going to talk a little bit now about their activities, basically. Well,
is this on? Can you hear me?
It's not just.
I'm going to sit here.
Yes, sit here.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any notes, but I thought that it would be worthwhile and interesting just for me to say a couple of words about Regions of Knowledge itself and where we're going in the future. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. I'm going to pick on Noviwam as a very good example of exactly what we wanted to do with Regions of Knowledge. Now, you would say he's just saying that because he happens to be here. Well, he happens to be here, but it happens to be true. One of the concerns that we had when we set up what is this new version of Regions of Knowledge, because Regions of Knowledge had some origins about 8 or 9 years ago, was would the projects really produce something significant in terms of the famous Joint Action Plan, firstly? And secondly, would that really lead them forward to try and preserve the project's ideals, at least in the future? Because if you look back at the standard terms of reference, the work program for Regions of Knowledge, you always say something, importance of the joint action plan and need for integration with further funding opportunity, blah, blah, the usual stuff that Commission officials like me put into documents. Now, but the point is that, firstly, if you look at the joint action plan that is emerging, that César was talking about, yes, it does. It does say, we've worked for 3 years. We've identified what issues are, as you've seen in the presentation that he's made, and yes, we do know what we want to do, what we would like to do. But then the challenge, of course, then is, well, it's all very interesting to know what you would like to do. The challenge is to be able to do it. And I think your idea of carrying forward with the intentions of Noviwam are extremely important. Now, looking at the countries that and the regions that are participating in the project, in general, most of them have an opportunity to see how the lessons that have been learned in Noviwam can be integrated in policy preparation relating to future cohesion policy, and I'll talk about this in my formal presentation tomorrow. And even perhaps in the case of France, where there wouldn't be such a large funding stream available from cohesion policy, nevertheless, useful lessons can be learned. But if we take the situation of the host region, Andalusia, and the likelihood, the fact, we have a famous thing called the multi-annual financial framework, which is being negotiated at the moment, and a very important meeting will take place in February on this. They failed in December, but we always fail in December in order to emphasise the importance of the decision that will be taken. There is some doubt as to the final allocation in global terms, both to research policy and to cohesion policy. But nevertheless, it will still be the case that both the Horizon 2020 and the structural funds will be a very, very important source of funding for all areas, but water management. I don't want to drift into my presentation tomorrow, so I'm going to wrap up on this. But just to underline this point, that opportunities are there. And one of the things that often happens with projects of this nature that are funded by the European Commission, that it ends up on a shelf in my office. Now that's normal, because I've got lots of projects to manage. I can't pretend that I have in my heart every single one of the projects. But the fear sometimes is that it ends up on the shelf in the regional ministry as well and doesn't go any further than that. So what I would just like to wrap up and say is that we've had a very, very good presentation this morning of the key elements of the project. The joint action plan clearly indicates opportunities for going forward, and funding opportunities are there as well. So let's take advantage, not just for the regions directly involved in Noviwam, but also for a wider distribution of the lessons that you've learned, and to take it all forward. And you'll hear from me again tomorrow. Okay. Thank you very much for allowing me to use up 5 minutes of the spare time.
Thanks a lot to you for the words.